So following the most recent Nintendo Direct, there was obviously a ton of positive fan feedback online when it comes to new games that dropped for the Nintendo Switch, some of which hitting the service that day. Looking at you, Metroid Prime Remastered, that I'm still having a blast playing, and they gave us tons of Nintendo Switch online content, with maybe some huge game announcements still to come at the upcoming Pokemon Day event that we know to expect on February 27th. And from there, we of course got a deeper look at Zelda Tears of the Kingdom that we know to loosely expect as the biggest game this year in 2023, as I just don't think anything else even comes close in Nintendo's wheelhouse. We may see a Mario or Donkey Kong slide into the conversation this year, but I don't think that anything tops Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in terms of major first-party releases from Nintendo in 2023. And that starts to beg the question, if you really do zoom out and look at Nintendo's first-party lineup that they themselves have confirmed and announced for this year, we still have a lot of unanswered questions once we get past Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And in today's video, I want to break down where us Nintendo Switch fans should be setting our expectations for the rest of 2023's game lineup, and share with you all my personal opinion on which Nintendo Switch games that are unannounced we may see released in the back half of 2023 right now. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. And as I mentioned, guys, today we were discussing Nintendo and really their back half of 2023 Switch game lineup, because while the most recent Nintendo Direct really revealed a lot to us and actually had numerous updates that were just available the same day, most namely Metroid Prime Remastered and the NSO edition of Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, games that just dropped onto the service the same day. That was a fantastic win. It was a huge celebration amongst Nintendo fans, and we got a look at some other titles that were in Nintendo's wheelhouse. We saw Bayonetta Origins that we know to be out in March, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is already out now, Pikmin 4, which of course was the opener for the show, got a deeper look, and we know that that will be out in July, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which is a game that's just been waiting to be released this whole time. We finally know it will be out on April 21st, 2023. And of course, Nintendo's marquee huge game for the year, which is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, out May 12th, 2023. Aside from that, we don't know a whole lot of what to expect from the rest of 2023. And you could argue that it is already plenty of games to play on the Switch from a first party and third party perspective, and maybe they don't need to reveal anything else anytime soon, and that very well could be the route that they go. I also think that there is definitely room for a summertime direct presentation to reveal many more titles, because there is that question looming around online, since Nintendo is not going to officially be a part of E3 according to all of the reports, and even multiple gaming journalists citing that the reason they're not going to be at E3 and have a show floor presence there is because they don't believe that they have enough big titles, heavy hitters, quote unquote, if you will, to showcase in this year besides Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which will already be out at that point. And we've had a plethora of different gaming journalists go on record stating that they've been hearing that it's a little bit lighter of a release schedule when it comes to new games following Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And so on the off chance that we don't see them do a summertime Nintendo Direct that isn't aligned with E3, because you don't have to look that far back to see what they did, which is last year when E3 wasn't around, they did a mini partner showcase in June, and they did a couple game specific directs following that, but they did not have any mainline summertime Nintendo Direct presentation, meaning we really went from February of last year all the way till September without hearing big major first party acknowledgements and updates from Nintendo directly, and I hope that that is not a repeat for this year. Now, some likely titles that we may see revealed, or at least hinted at in the cards, are first the leaked and rumor mill titles that we still have not seen released on the Switch, and I think that games like F-Zero GX are very likely for this year. We've heard a lot in the way of ports and remasters carrying through Nintendo towards the back half of the Switch's life cycle, as we really should see 2023 be the transition year to new hardware, when I believe at some point in 2024 we will actually get that more powerful, true successor to the the Nintendo Switch. Not a Nintendo Switch Pro, but rather a true up what is next. The console will be a full 7 years old at the point of March in 2024, and it will be starting its 8th year of sales. I don't think Nintendo goes any longer than that with the current lineup of Switch hardware today, and I think that a lot of these ports and remasters that we may see make it over in the meantime on the current Switch hardware just gives those developers time to start to pump out the Marios, Donkey Kongs, Animal Crossings, Luigi's Mansion, everything that they kind of want to launch the new system with or have in that launch window, if you will. Maybe that new Mario Kart we will finally see happen on the new console. I think many of the games that we would like to see still come out on the current generation hardware for this Switch does indeed get pushed to the next generation hardware, and then we get ports and remasters to kind of hold us over for the most part. And F-Zero GX is a likely candidate, in my opinion, to see that make the cut. Then we have to talk about Kid Icarus Uprising, another one that even Sakurai himself heavily hinted at least it seemed like that when you looked at the camera and said, I hope someone will port it, and he's kind of smiling. Is it him and his team behind it? Is he just having fun poking at Nintendo, telling him to port it? You never know, but Emily Rogers and Nate the Hate and many others have also backed up the idea that there will be many more ports and remasters, and we've already seen that take place now with the long-rumored Metroid Prime 1 remastered finally dropped, and Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 also being a focal point of a port and remaster from the GameCube era. I think we get more of those, and with the Switch Online service likely not incorporating GameCube on the current generation hardware, it's the perfect time to get some of the better ways to play those classic games by giving them a reskin and an HD upres. If anything even comes close to what they achieved with Metroid Prime 1 Remaster in terms of visual fidelity, I will take any GameCube game any day of the week at a $40 to $60 price point and happily pay it if it looks and plays as good as Prime 1 Remaster does. And that also is a perfect segue to at least one or two of these games I can see dropping this year, and that is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes and Prime 3 Corruption. I am more on the side of that we will not see them both released this year, and we do know to believe that these are likely games that will receive less attention to detail in terms of their remaster quality compared to what Prime 1 received, but I also think that they will still be very well received by the Nintendo fan base, especially at a $40 price point that they will likely stick to with each of these titles. And I think we could definitely at least see Prime 2 Echoes launched in something like the summer or fall time, and then maybe Prime 3 Corruption kicks off the beginning of next year, and we could finally start to talk about in 2024 at some time, likely on new Switch hardware or at least a cross-generational game, be Metroid Prime 4. I don't expect that this year in 2023. That one's really off my list because Nintendo didn't even acknowledge it or act like it was a project when they just surprise dropped Prime 1 Remastered, which really told me all I needed to know, which is that it is still in the heavy development phases and they're just not ready to show it off yet. The last few wild cards that I could see potentially happening in 2023, and these are really a flip of the coin on if we see them on this console or the next, but we have the long rumored Donkey Kong game that you just have to question what is going on with Donkey Kong. We haven't seen anything since Tropical Freeze. That was originally a Wii U game in 2014, then ported to the Switch in 2018. DK has been dormant for far too long now, and it's time for him to make his return. Whether that happens in late 2023 or if it's something that is saved for the next gen hardware remains to be seen, but I definitely think that that would be a strong contender to carry through and really elevate the rest of 2023's Switch game lineup. And then following that rumor, you have what is going on with mainline 3D Mario, or even 2D Mario for that aspect. Which one will we see first? That remains to be seen. Nintendo apparently will be bundling in Mario Odyssey with a Switch console to promote the new Super Mario Bros. Movie, at least from all of the reports floating around online right now suggesting that. So that's where I kind of tend to believe that is all Nintendo has planned for the movie. So does that mean that in the back half we could expect some kind of Mario title? Shigeru Miyamoto recently just straight up said, we're always working on Mario, but currently they are not ready to end fans' wait on what is next for the plumber. So we have to sit on the sidelines and just question how long it might take to see the next Mario game. And lastly, there's the idea that there could still be some kind of Zelda port or remaster or 2D fresh entry in the franchise that could make it over this year in 2023. I personally am on the side of I am having zero new Zelda game expectations other than Tears of the Kingdom in 2023. Could there be a wild card plan for Nintendo, and after Tears of the Kingdom has had 6 months by itself being in the spotlight, at the very tail end of the year in something like November, we see them release Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD combo pack? That's an entire possibility, absolutely. We already know we're getting Minish Cap on Game Boy Advance. It's already available today, in fact, and we still have Oracle of Ages and Seasons to look forward to on the Game Boy Color. Not to mention, we already got Link's Awakening Remastered on the Switch back in 2019, but we even have the OG version available to play on the Game Boy side on NSO, so I don't see Nintendo doing anything else with major Zelda games this year. I would love to see them continue to develop 2D games alongside of 3D games, but again, I think it will be more of a off-year cycle where a game like that won't release in the same calendar year as a game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So that's personally where I'm putting my money. I don't expect anything else Zelda besides the mainline 3D iteration that we will be receiving later on in May. That's my personal thoughts and feelings on Nintendo's 2023 lineup as it stands today and where we should be setting our expectations towards the back half of the year. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video whether or not you think that Nintendo has some major cards up their sleeve that they may reveal at a summertime presentation. Do you think we get a summertime presentation at all, or do you think that they just distance themselves from traditionally being a part of E3 and February and September turn into the big staple showcases for new games? And what do you think of all the ports and remaster talk? Do you think it's likely that we get games like F-Zero GX, Kid Icarus, and many others from the GameCube or even DS, 3DS era make it over? Or do you think that that is less likely and we may still get some big games like Mario and Donkey Kong on the current generation Switch, and we might see them revealed this year? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.